Mansa Musa, the 14th century emperor of Mali, is widely considered to be the richest person to have ever lived. His vast wealth was derived from the abundant gold and salt mines in his empire, which made him one of the wealthiest men in the world. Despite his enormous wealth, Mansa Musa was known for his generosity and his commitment to spreading knowledge and culture throughout his empire. He was a devout Muslim and made the pilgrimage to Mecca, where he distributed vast amounts of gold to the poor and built mosques and schools along the way. One story that exemplifies Mansa Musa's generosity is the famous account of his journey to Mecca. According to the story, he traveled with a caravan of 60,000 men, including 12,000 slaves, each carrying gold bars weighing between 4 and 5 pounds. During the journey, Mansa Musa distributed so much gold to the poor that he caused inflation in the cities he passed through. Mansa Musa's commitment to education was also noteworthy. He established schools and universities throughout his empire and invited scholars and artists from across the Muslim world to come and teach. His court became a center of learning and culture, and his patronage of the arts helped to establish a vibrant artistic tradition in Mali. Today, Mansa Musa's legacy lives on in Mali and beyond. He is remembered as a wise and generous leader who used his wealth to promote knowledge, culture, and the welfare of his people. His story serves as an inspiration to all those who seek to use their resources to make a positive impact on the world.
This is the story of Mansa Musa, the 14th century emperor that ruled the Mali Empire from 1312 to 1337. Considered the wealthiest person in history, Mansa Musa was known for his generosity and willingness to share his wealth. In 1324, he made his first pilgrimage to Mecca with a procession of 60,000 men and 12,000 servants, all carrying gold bars. His extravagant spending and sharing large amounts of gold caused a significant inflation in Egypt, which took over a decade to recover. Mansa Musa was inspired by knowledge and established universities and libraries, including the famous Sankore University in Timbuktu. He also sponsored the construction of many architectural works, including the famous Jinga River Mosque in Timbuktu. Mansa Musa's legacy still endures to this day, and he is remembered as one of Africa's greatest rulers. His empire was a time of prosperity and cultural flourishing, and he remains an important figure in African history.
Did you know the richest person to ever live was a black man? Mansa Musa was the wealthiest person in the history of the world. He was the emperor of the Mali Empire between 1312 and 1337. It is estimated that by today's value, his net worth totaled between $400 billion and $1 trillion. His mass amount of wealth was accumulated through control of the trans-Saharan trade routes. These routes connected West Africa to the Mediterranean and brought in huge amounts of gold, salt, and other valuable goods. Mansa Musa conquered over 24 countries during his reign and developed cities like Timbuktu and Gao into important cultural centers. He also brought architects from the Middle East across Africa to design new buildings for his cities. It is reported that he built a new mosque every Friday. During his well-documented voyage to Mecca in 1324, Arab writers from the time described Mansa Musa traveling with around 60,000 men, all dressed in brocade and Persian silk, including 12,000 slaves each carrying gold bars, plus 80 camels each carrying hundreds of pounds of gold. It was the largest display of wealth the world had ever seen at that time, and even Europeans caught news of the Mali kingdom. In addition to being the wealthiest person to ever live, Mansa Musa was also the most generous person to ever live. It is reported that Mansa Musa gave away almost $1 billion worth of gold, to which caused the value of the precious metal to drop so drastically that it took economies such as Egypt over a decade to recover. While it is unclear of the exact date of the death of Mansa Musa, he is believed to have died of natural causes sometime around 1337 and was succeeded by his sons. Well after his death, Mansa Musa remains ingrained in the imagination of the world as a symbol of extraordinary wealth. So what are your thoughts? What would you do with that amount of wealth? Let me know in the comments.
This man gave away so much gold that it decreased the price of gold for the next 12 years. Yes, I'm talking about the richest man to ever live. And he was so rich that his spending sprees could literally collapse economies. No, it's not the Rothschilds or even Elon Musk. This man was much wealthier than both of them combined. he had a fortune of over 400 billion converted into our time. And this man had style. And by style, I mean when he went on his pilgrimage across the Middle East, he would travel with 60,000 soldiers and servants. This powerful but generous man was no other than Mansa Musa, who was the ruler of the Mali kingdom in 1312. This man gave away so much
were plentiful. The western half of the Mali Empire is said to have been the largest gold producer. That occurred at a time when gold demand was on the rise all throughout the world. There was a period when the Mali Empire extracted a ton of gold. He was given the name Musa, which signifies sultan, after becoming emperor. Musa's empire spanned a huge swath of Western Africa during his reign. His business grew as a result of the expansion of his empire. As a result, the citizens' financial situation has improved. His army included 200,000 men, 40,000 of whom were archers. The world was unaware of Musa's expanding fortune until 1324. Musa departed for Mecca the same year. Around 60,000 people accompanied him on his pilgrimage. After returning from Mecca, he built a large number of mosques in Mali. He built schools, libraries, and colleges in Timbuktu because it was the main city. Until this point, countries all around the world were unaware of Musa's wealth. Europeans did not believe in the riches of Musa until they saw them. After seeing wealthy Musa, Europeans were taken aback. His stories had made an everlasting impression on the minds of all who had heard them. Around the year 1337, he dies. These stories made him iconic in historical atlases, and he was even named after them in Catalan atlases. His net worth People were astounded when they saw the size of his army. He was taking the entire city on the journey. He was not the emperor of Europe, England, Russia, or India, but rather the emperor of Africa's largest empire. He may have been the least well-known emperor in history, but he was also the wealthiest. He has enough money to construct 300 structures similar to the Burj Khalifa. Let's talk about Mansa Musa now. 740 years ago, in the year 1280, Mansa Musa was born in an unknown location in Africa. He became the emperor of Mali Empire when he was 33 years old, following Abu Bakr II. Abu Bakr was eager to travel to the other side of the Atlantic Ocean. He embarked on an expedition involving thousands of ships, but he never returned. Between 1240 to 1645 CE, Mali was Africa's largest and wealthiest empire. Sundiata Keita was the founder of this empire. His empire stretched all the way to the Atlantic Ocean. Timbuktu was Mali's largest city, although Niamey was its capital. After the Mongol Empire, Musa established Mali as the second largest empire. Musa's kingdom spanned over 2,000 kilometers and included 24 cities. His empire had grown too large, so he had to divide it into sub-empires, whose rulers were known as Farba. Musa owned half of the gold of the world during that time. Mansa Musa was claimed to be the wealthiest guy in history. He was the gold and salt business's king. Musa aspired to visit Mecca as a Muslim, and as a result, he became famous around the world. It is believed that he had roughly 80 camels in his entourage when he went to Hajj, and that each camel carried 136 kilograms of gold. He donated gold coins to the underprivileged in every community he passed through. He ascended to the throne of Mali in 1312.